The Fallout series has a long, interesting history of chess references that dates back to its first installment in 1997. Several of the game's developers, like Jason Anderson and Helena Wickberg, worked on an interplay project called USCF Chess. This game was licensed by the United States Chess Foundation, and Interplay even sponsored a handful of chess tournaments throughout the late 90s. Other developers like Scott Benny and Chris DeSalvo also worked on Interplay's 1992 game, Battle Chess 4000. Perhaps due to these previous titles and interest from several team members, chess was actually implemented in the original game, albeit in text form. There's an advanced supercomputer called Zax 1.2 that was used for biological research at the Westech facility, and it's considered to be the first real artificial intelligence in the series. The timeline released in the Fallout Bible states that in 2055, Zax 1.2 is brought in to regulate conditions in Westech. It is not part of the Vault-Tec preservation software, so it does not have any orders to protect humanity after the bombs fall. In the meantime, it calmly calculates data and plays chess with the scientist. Many scientists claim that Zax is a big ol' cheater and draws the game out too much for a computer of his considerable abilities. When the player arrives at Westech in 2077, the lab has been destroyed by a nuclear attack and is now a highly irradiated location called the Glow. If you manage to survive the overwhelming rads and robot guards, you'll eventually reach Zax and can challenge it in chess. Fallout 1 and 2 developer Jesse Heinig revealed the conditions of beating Zax in the Fallout Bible. To beat Zax in chess, you must score a critical success on an intelligence check, and Zax must fail its check. Very, very rare circumstance. As I recall, it might be scripted so that it's also only possible if a character has 10 intelligence, but I might be mistaken. It's been a while. None of the skills, except perhaps gambling, seemed really appropriate, so I decided to go with a straight stat check. In a later entry, he expanded even further, stating, "If you have a character with 10 intelligence, there is a vanishingly small chance to beat Zax in chess. This is a doomed experiment for you though. It will take so long to finally win that your Rad-X will have worn off. You'll stand up from the chess game and then keel over dead from mega doses of radiation in the Glow. Some days, I'm an evil man." While it is true that playing enough games against Zax will kill you, you can't ever win unfortunately, even if you happen to have 10 intelligence. Despite the developer's best intentions, there's a scripting oversight that causes critical successes on stat checks to never occur, meaning that it's impossible to win. You were meant to receive 700 experience for defeating Zax, but not only can you not win, you're going to die just trying to play. The line for winning was set up though, and it would have read, "It would seem that you have defeated me. Extraordinary." You can fix this scripting issue by installing the Fixit mod, and there's a link to that below. In Fallout 2, you can meet a scientist named the Professor in the settlement of Broken Hills. There, the player can challenge his intelligent rad scorpion in 3 different tests, and if they succeed, they receive experience and various items as a reward. The intelligence test is a game of chess, but regardless of your intelligence stat, you can't beat the rad scorpion either. The only way to win is by completing a quest for another of the Professor's experiments, Seymour, a talking plant that's a reference to the Little Shop of Horrors. If you dig him up with a shovel, he'll teach you the most magnificent chess maneuver of all time, the flying liver attack. This technique allows you to checkmate the scorpion, but turns it hostile in the process and forces you to kill it. So far, we have a chess game you can't win, and another you can't win without cheating. Not off to a great start, but don't worry, it gets worse. In Microforte's Fallout Tactics, there's a player message that reads, "Extra Robot Security 02. Person is distracted by a nice game of chess." Now, I've played through the campaign multiple times and never seen this message, and I haven't been able to find anyone else who's encountered it either, leading me to believe that it was cut from the final game. The person part of the sentence would have been replaced by one of your squad members' names, and perhaps this means your characters would have lost their turn while playing chess, though I'm not sure how this would have functioned in Tactics real-time combat mode. I suspect this is an homage to playing chess against Zax in the original game, and if so, it would have been an awesome reference. The game's main antagonist is a supercomputer called the Calculator, so perhaps you are going to play against it too. Though it's worth noting that while both Zax and the Calculator are supercomputers, they're completely unrelated to one another, as tactics designer Gareth Davies revealed. As far as I know, the Calculator was completely unique and unrelated to Zax, but I can't find any documentation to support either side of the theory. I think it's fairly safe to assume Zax and the Calculator have very little in common. Intriguingly, this wasn't the last time chess was considered as a plot point either. There was going to be a lab called the Reservation in Interplay's Doom Fallout 3. The Reservation was based on the real-world location Los Alamos National Laboratory, a facility that was originally made for nuclear weapons testing as a part of the Manhattan Project. An image was leaked for the Reservation that reveals the lab had its own supercomputer called Maniac. There is no other information about the Maniac in its related design document, but it seems to be a reference to the real-world Maniac 1, an early computer built in the Los Alamos National Laboratory. There were several versions of the computer, but the most famous was known for its impressive chess abilities. Due to its limited processing power, they couldn't implement the entire game of chess, so instead they made a simplified version called Los Alamos Chess. It was here that the first human player lost a game of chess to a computer. Considering that the Maniac and chess aren't even mentioned in the design document, it seems this was going to be the first numbered entry where you couldn't actually play the game against other NPCs, but it's difficult to speculate given its cancellation. The design document for the Boulder location also reveals that a merchant was going to sell something called Pip Games. Presumably these were mini games that could be played on your Pip-Boy, and the document then lists a few different games: tic-tac-toe, poker, NetHack, and most notably chess, suggesting that you could have at least played the game in some capacity. Most of the later games feature chessboards as miscellaneous items, while some characters are implied to be playing it, and one quest even references a real chess opening, King's Gambit in New Vegas. However, actually being able to play chess against NPCs came to an abrupt end in Fallout 2, and will almost certainly never return again. In the end, Fallout's history of chess is unwinnable games, cheating, and cut content. C'est la vie.